Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and today I wanted to just talk about the decks that I'm hoping to use this month in October. So I will say the first thing is that October is the 3rd of October today, and so far the month is crazy. It has become very, very full. I have a new doula client that just came on board, I guess, on the 1st, on Tuesday. So I started off the whole month with a new client. I can't really say much about it except that I seem to have I seem to have an affinity with little old men. And I just find them utterly adorable. So before things get really crazy, I thought I'd better set my intentions and then share what I'm intending to do. Yeah, so there we are. So the decks I'm hoping to work with this month, or well, that I will definitely. Let's start with definitely working with these following decks this month. I have. First of all, I've enjoyed so much working with the Pholarchos Tarot that I will be continuing to work with this gorgeous deck through October, possibly through the winter. I mean, I'm feeling the desire to really go into a deep dive of this deck. I'm really writing a lot about working with decks that kind of, I guess, that are really obviously, intense, but also ones where the deck creator has integrated a lot of their own experience into the deck, and where that may or may not change the meanings and move things away from a more traditional structure. Especially a traditional RWS structure. So this one does not really follow any particular structure. She's definitely, Carmen Sorrenti, who's the creator, has definitely moved her own way with it. And it's kind of perfect because of that. So yeah, I don't know. I may start writing about that and decide whether there's somewhere I want to go with that or not. But I'm definitely really intrigued by it, and I enjoy watching the way that my understanding of the tarot and of each individual card just continues to expand and expand and expand and expand, simply because someone else has had an experience that in some way feels very resonant, and expands my own understanding of life or of myself, or of what kind of possibilities are available in human experience. So that's exciting to me. I will also continue to work with the Tarot of the She. I'm in love with this deck. It has a very different voice than the Pholarchos, and yet they're unbelievably compatible. Somebody asked in one of my more recent videos if I would consider doing a video talking about how I read decks together. So I may look at how I do that specifically with this deck and with the Pholarchos, because the two, or Pholarchos and the Mariel, because those are two that I've read together a fair bit as well, and I'm just enjoying it so much. It's just so delightful. And this deck really, it will really tell me exactly what I need to hear, exactly what I need to focus on, what I need to do, but in a way that's very in keeping with the, with the Fae or with the She. There are riddles. Emily Carding wrote her guidebook for the minors in riddles, because and rhyming couplets, because that's really kind of how they bring their messages across. Oh, it's so beautiful. So, yeah. And every time I look through this deck, I find another card or two cards that I think, wow, I don't think I remember seeing that one. And so I feel like I'm constantly seeing it with fresh eyes, which is kind of another quality that the Fae or the She hold is that ability to kind almost like a trickster quality. It is a trickster. It's a trickster quality of making you look at things with fresh eyes or of changing the way that you see things. So, I don't know. As somebody who enjoys that process, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying that process with this deck. So, yeah, it's been really rewarding, and I have the instinct as I do. I mean, the three decks that I've really had this instinct with powerfully, you know, the Mariel, the Pholarchos, and Tarot of the She are the ones that I'm like, I just want to have them with me and on me all the time. I have that feeling to a certain degree with the New Earth Tarot as well, but in a different way. It's another one that I find utterly comforting. In fact, I didn't want to go on vacation this summer without taking it because it's so balancing. But that one feels more like a teacher and someone who should be given the kind of reverence of a teacher rather than like a really good friend. In a weird way, I don't know how to explain it. But something, oh, my dog's heard me talking in here, so he always thinks I'm talking to him. So he's come in to let me pet his butt. Can you lie down for Mama? Yeah, can you lie down for Mama? Not until he's rubbed against my leg, apparently. Yeah. Okay, let Mommy read this. There we go. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. So something else I noticed, because I have these two decks sitting together on my desk quite a lot, is the use of this spiral, you know, which, I don't know. I mean, I think there's no coincidence there in the sense that, you know, that is an energy. Well, there's, you know, spirals regardless. I mean, I could talk a long time about spirals, but anyway, I did notice that. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I could talk for a long time about spirals. I don't need to do that today. So, so that's two of the decks. And let's see. Oh, yes. So where did it go? It's hiding. It's always hiding. The other one that I will be working with regularly, again, is the Tarot de Santa Muerte, which I feel like should really be, yeah, this way. Ta-da! So, yeah. And this deck, it's really growing on me a lot. Oh my gosh. So the more I'm reading with it, I mean, its voice is so shockingly different than, you know, my top threes. But saying that, I mean, this one is wonderful. And it's very earthy. It likes to tell me about really, you know, really earthy things to do with like money, and it seems to be, you know, focusing there at telling me like what I'm manifesting right now. Whereas the other decks are really more like telling me about my spiritual path and how my spiritual path is leading to that manifestation. This one just says, okay, here's what you're manifesting. And it's less interested in telling me about my spiritual path, which is fine. So it tells me it's a much more, you know, a much more grounded deck. There are so many possibilities in the interpretations of these cards. And I'm really enjoying the way that, such a good one, the way that Fabio Listrani has structured it and kind of tweaked the meanings away from RWS, because I find that actually there's very, you know, it follows a structure that's similar in some ways, but it's similar through all of tarot. But they, you know, the cards just completely mean different things than they would in an RWS based system. So yeah, I'm just enjoying that. And I just love the devil in this particular deck with the puppet strings and the, yeah. So I feel like I should do a more longer, you know, in-depth look at maybe at what's happening here. And I might do that, you know, if that's something people are interested in seeing, is like more of an in-depth dive. I'm open to that. And I may do it just for my own interest and edification, because sometimes doing it as a video is what helps me to actually do that deep dive and get engaged in it. So yeah, sorry, it was probably really loud. That was the guidebook dropping in. This is the Lunar Nomad deck, or Lunar Nomad Oracle, and I love it so much. It reads very, very much, I think, like a traditional Lenormand deck with a few extra cards. We'll see if any of those pop up. I know I normally don't want a busy Lenormand card or Lenormand deck. This one reads differently for me, however. I mean, the fact that it's a little bit going its own direction has really given me some space, and I could just love this one. It's given me the space and freedom to feel like I can interpret, you know, the images as I would like to, and I may do a video about that at some point. But I also would really like to work with a more straight Lenormand deck. And then the Natalie Rose is one that's been on my, get it? Ha! I just saw that. But the Natalie Rose is one that's been on my, I guess, on my radar for a long time. And I thought, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do that because it says Natalie in the title. And I like roses, so why not? But it's a really cute hand-drawn deck. And it's small. It's kind of like bridge or poker sized. So I'm excited about working with that one as well when it gets here. And in the meantime, I will continue playing with and using my Lunar Nomad Oracle. But following on from the fun deck sniffing that started in the last video, oh, it smells so good. It's just unbelievable. I don't know what it is about the publishing process for this deck. But anyway, it is the Marigold Tarot. And boy, does it smell good. It's this one I would like to start incorporating in some way this month. I have a sense I will work slowly and then at some point just pick it up and go, okay, and just start racing through it. Which is sometimes what happens. I just have to warm up to something and then, you know, go for it. Oh, I love this one. Queen of Cups. It's just so beautiful. And so dark, and I love the imagery, and I love obviously I love the way it smells. But you know, like that's, such a wonderful Nine of Cups. I know that Amrit Brar talks about following RWS in the creation of this one, and that feels right to me. One of my favorite cards in the whole deck. This sold the deck to me because as a death doula, you know, that is the essence of strength. And it's kind of, it says a lot about what formed my experience that led to this place and to this moment. But yeah, I don't know. I don't automatically see those references here, you know, in this deck, but I think with some further time and inquiry, I probably will. I'm sure that I will. So that's kind of being added to the list of like, maybe try a few spreads here or there and just see what I can do with it, or just even start by doing a deck interview. I've never even done that with it. Interestingly, I don't think I did that with any of the decks I'm working with at the moment. I don't think I ever did a deck interview with Pholarchos, with the Tarot of the She, or with Santa Muerte. So I probably would benefit from doing that, and yet certainly Pholarchos and She don't need any real interviewing or explanation. These two decks just made themselves completely known and available to me right away. So I tend to kind of reserve interviews like that for decks where I'm a little kind of, you know, scratching my head and not sure about what it is that I'm where it is I'm going, or where I feel like there's still just a little bit of a gap somehow in the energy of the deck and with me and with my energy. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I just kind of don't feel like I need to do that. I might do that with the Marigold just because I may need to. But I said this in the September one too. I feel like the difference, there's a big difference between these two decks and the way they feel. Despite all of the skeletons and images of death, totally different feel, totally different energy behind each one of them. So yeah, so I'm going to save the best for last. But in the meantime, I also have this really fun deck I've had for a little while. I keep meaning to work with it. I will work with it, but that's why I'm also talking about it. And it's Madame Endora's Fortune Cards, which is not a deck I expected to be so attracted to. And then I saw it and I thought, oh my gosh, that just looks like so much fun. This sort of Art Nouveau, Celtic looking, you know, style and so on that was on here. The backs are so pretty. I edged them in purple because purple's a thing for me, you know, and they're so straightforward. And they have that really fun fortune tellery kind of feel to them. The cardstock's not great. It is a really inexpensive deck as well, which made me feel not badly about ordering it. I think I had to order some supplies for the rats from Amazon and thought, oh, I'm going to do this one because why not? Yeah, it's just so much fun, this one. And it's kind of dark. I feel like this one could be happily like an autumn deck. And it's a little bit Halloween-y. It's certainly very playful, you know, and it's very immediate. So yeah, I think this one will kind of make the rounds with me at different events. I do need to spend a little more time with it to get to know its energy better. I haven't worked with it much, you know, I kind of need to know I can trust what a deck's energy is. I mean, the guidebook is really small, and I've already futzed up one of the corners, but you know, it's just a tiny little LWB, which is very redundant. I could just say it's a tiny LWB. You know, that's got, you know, guidance and small meanings and, you know, try this and so on. But I like to know what that structure is and get you know, read with it a few times before I really start trying to work with it with clients and so on. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So these guys, so much fun. And I do a lot of reading for people who, of course, want to know about love. And, you know, I've been amazed and kind of humbled by the level of depth that people are willing to touch into when we talk about their needs. You know, when they talk about what they're wanting from a relationship, what they're needing from a relationship, what their current relationship is like, and the kinds of challenges that they're going through. Yeah, I'm often humbled, genuinely humbled, because it's much more, you know, their desire is to move to a higher level within their relationships or with the people that they attract. And so I wanted to find an oracle deck maybe that would help shift that and give some more insight into that. And this one had been on my radar for a while. And so I went ahead and got it. I could look through it and just kind of look at the images and get a sense of the feel of it at a local metaphysical store, and so I did. It's a Blue Angel deck, so you know, nice little Blue Angel box. Pretty little box. It's the first Blue Angel deck that I've ever had. Nice little guidebook that fits perfectly, you know, the size of the cards. And the backs are stunning. Really beautiful. And, you know, the artwork is a little busy and kind of not necessarily my taste. And yet, they're, you know, this one, oh, that one's lovely, though. I said that, and now it's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know, it's beautiful. And so, you know, this one to me feels like, it feels more like a deck, not like a deck that I interpret, but that I give to the client to shuffle and draw cards from themselves, you know, as part of integrating them into the process of the reading. Yeah. And being able to do that can sometimes be so, you know, it's so helpful to really bringing them into that process and empowering, you know. And love can have such a way of disempowering us, you know, or not love. Love doesn't ever disempower anyone. Our beliefs about love, our patterns, you know, in life from some of our earliest relationships with other, you know, with our caregivers and parents and families of origin, they can make the subject, the topic, the prospect of finding a partner painfully disempowering. I certainly felt that way a lot of my life, actually. A lot of my life. Until probably, maybe like 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago. That was definitely the territory that I was living in. And I was very afraid. And I felt very hemmed in by beliefs and misconceptions. So yeah, I'm curious about this deck. I feel like I want to work with it a bit more. That's a nice one. And just get a greater sense of what its, you know, what its energy offers. I need to read the guidebook for real. Because I haven't even done that. So yeah, it's definitely not a quick deck to read with. So it's not one that I can just pick up and like whip out some cards and interpret them. You know, it's a slower, you know, get to know what's happening kind of deck and take the message in. So yeah, I'm hoping to read this one with clients in person. One that I'm also really super geeked about is the Shaman's Oracle. So this is one I've had for a long time sitting on my desk, on my shelves, on my bookshelves. And, you know, it is it's an unusual deck. I was thinking when I did all my like clearing out of decks, like, do I really want to keep this? Maybe I need to let go of it and sell it. Realized very quickly, nope, I don't think I haven't even touched it, you know, really the depths of it yet. And I am feeling more drawn to working with these images. I will say initially the imagery of this deck put me off, not because it wasn't the imagery. The rendering of the imagery put me off initially, because instead of using real images of glyphs and cave paintings and so on, the artist recreated them. And who is that? The artist would be Will Kingen, I think. And then after, like, in some cases, painting them himself, and then they would photograph them, and, you know, then they're obviously digitally rendered as well. Like, that's a very, very digitally rendered image right there. And now I feel less annoyed by that. I don't know why. I don't know why I was originally irritated by it in the first place. I'm definitely far less irritated by it now. And then I watched several of Kelly Fitzgerald from Truth and Stories, like walkthroughs and discussions about working with this deck and using it. And I just thought, okay, I've really got to give this one a second, a second look through, because it's a lot deeper than it would seem on the surface. It just is. And I love the images. I connect with imagery like this very deeply. Oh, look at this one, Hunter. Such a neat one. If anybody's ever seen, if you've never seen The Cave of Forgotten Dreams, which is a documentary by Werner Herzog, I could not recommend that highly enough. It's about the Chauvet Cave in France. And this one, I was looking for it. This one reminds me a little bit of the quality of the lines in the cave paintings in that particular cave. It is just that particular, I need to watch it again as I go into fall and winter, because it has such a powerful, this one has that too. It has such a powerful impact on my psychological state. It changes my dreams and my dream state. I usually can't watch it the whole way through without falling asleep. Oh, here we go. I thought one of the rhinos was in here. This one is, I think, taken from a drawing from the Chauvet Cave, actually. I may be mistaken about that. But, it's just so beautiful. And it was, it's in that cave that they realized, they found clues about dogs, and our relationship with canines, and because they found, footprints of a child that are like fossilized into the cave. Probably it was muddy at the time, and a definite domesticated canine along with the child, and that's over 30,000 years old. So I don't know. There's something about that. I mean, it just made me so excited. I just thought that was the coolest thing. I'm always fascinated about the way humans and canines have evolved, or co-evolved together. And I think it was Dogs Decoded or something like that. I was subbing one day and the kids were given this documentary to watch, and it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. And they talk about Chauvet Cave in there. So anyway, this is the Shaman's Oracle. Back to it. Very much reliant on cave art, and very deep. I mean, the meanings are deep. The meanings in the book are beautifully written. Kelly was saying, in her video that she even just goes back to them and reads, the actual meanings in here, even when she does big spreads for clients, because why reinterpret something that's already so beautifully written? So very curious to work with this one and get to know it better. And then finally, I will also be working with the Sigilla Medievalia, which is the Medieval Sigils Tarot, and it is created by our very own Julianne Victoria through the Peacock's Eyes. So I mean, I love Julianne's work. I'm just in awe of what she does. I think she pulls together some beautiful, beautiful things. Her decks are gorgeous. Her words and her way with words is stunning. And so I wanted to work with this deck very, very badly. And she offered to have me review it. So I'm going to. So I'll be working with it this month. And I will also be, tweeting it, or not tweeting. What am I saying? I don't tweet. I'll be Instagramming about it on the Instagram. They are like pieces of parchment, and they're so beautiful. When she started introducing the images of it to me, and sharing them on social media, the thing that was really immediate to me was how quickly it just bypasses conscious thought and conscious thinking. And when I realized that was happening and how quickly, and you know which one did it? The one where, oh, yes, it's the devil. Devil card's come up a lot today, hasn't it? Yeah, this card, when I saw it, I thought, oh, Devil. Immediately, without counting, without looking at the XV at the top. It just struck me that way. Or, you see this one, right away. I mean, it just goes straight in. If you've, I say if you've been working with tarot for very long, these associations and images and so on are things that you've studied for a while. They're really deeply embedded already in your unconscious mind. It kind of focuses the mind, gives it a suggestion, and then allows the body to pull up whatever you're reacting to. But that was just my response to the deck from a very immediate place, like just looking at a few images, like on my cell phone. So, with that said, I'm really geeked about seeing what happens when I play with the full deck and get a sense of that. I probably will edge these in black simply because I'm like that. And I like edging decks, and it gives me more time to kind of bond with the deck. And not a bad smell, just a subtle one. It takes a big sniff to get a big whiff of this one. Pretty good, though. Gotta say, not bad. Ode to game crafters. Nice. So anyway, it's going to become a regular thing, I think. I'm sorry to say, but it's a great size too. It's so, it's not wasting space or making, the sigils don't need to be giant in order for you to see them, make them out. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think I'll need to do some more in-depth videos where we look at the majors and then kind of like we did with the Pholarchos, set out all 4 stacks so that we can see that, the images in the minors. So yeah, I'm really geeked. So yes. And that's that. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. It's so much fun. So I wish you a beautiful rest of the week, and so much gratitude always. It's so much fun to share my journey with all of you, and your comments and your engagement are always wonderful. Even if it takes me a while to get back to you, I will always get back to you. It's usually just a matter of time, because I don't like to do it really in a really rash way. I like to actually sit down and take in what you say and contemplate it and then think about what I'm writing back. So if it takes me a while to get back to you, that's why. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.